Hi everyone. Good evening, Mr. Ruben Arumugam, Madam Rosemarie Sison, and teachers joining this webinar. Welcome for our session today. I hope everyone is fine and ready to get information from our speaker today. Thank you very much for spending your time at this moment to know about Quizalize. I'm Madam Nirmala, MIE expert teaching in SK St. Patrick, Tawau Sabah. I'm your moderator for today's slot. Without further ado, let me introduce our speaker today. Our speaker is Madam Rosemary, who is all the way from the Philippines. Well, she is a teacher by profession with almost 8 years of teaching experience. She is a passionate teacher who is very dedicated in sharing knowledge to people, especially when teaching and learning is concerned. Well, she is also an EdTech advocate and a proud mother of two girls. At the moment, she is with ZZish and Quizalize for almost 4 years now. She started as schools engagement executive in 2016 and became the country manager in the Philippines after a couple of years, and just recently became the SE Asia Customer Success Manager. She is in charge of helping educators all over Southeast Asia to get fully equipped with ZZish and Quizalize. Now, please welcome Madam Rosemary to present information about Quizalize. So with that, I would like to welcome Madam Rosemary to present about Quizalize, and hopefully all of the educators will be able to benefit from this talk. Please welcome Madam Rosemary.
It's my turn. Is it?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
All right, thank you. Right, so to all educators out there from different parts of the world, good afternoon, everyone. For Malaysian teachers out there, um, sorry about this, but these two people who's with me right now taught me about this word. So salamat petang, Banay salamat petang. And for the Philippines, hello everyone. I hope you're with me today. Magandang hapon po. Okay, so I'd like to welcome you everyone for today's streaming live with Inspire.mind, and I'm going to give you a walkthrough about how Zish and Quizalize can be a beneficial partner for you to still deliver quality education, especially nowadays nowadays during the pandemic, where distance learning or the remote learning is recommended. First, I'd like to, of course, give thanks. I'm very grateful of this opportunity. I'd like to give thanks to Mr. Ruban as well as to Madame. I'm sorry, Madam, if I cannot pronounce well your name, Nirmala Devi. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Actually, days before you guys invited me for this session, I was praying so hard to hopefully I could be given a chance to reach out more people, more educators around the world to know about Quizalize, because it has so many beneficial impacts, especially in the um, teaching learning, with regards to teaching learning. All right, so again today, welcome to today's episode of this Inspire.mind together with us, Quizalize. Please allow me to share my screen with you. Let me know, please, guys, if you can see my screen. Is my screen working on your end? Yeah, I think so. Okay, right. So our today's topic is about the more of introduction of the Quizalize distance learning. So we are going to explore how Quizalize can be used to facilitate lesson planning to remote learners. We will cover some key features within Quizalize. Well, today's session is more about the basic things that you need to know of Quizalize, apart from the engaging, its feature to be an engaging tool for your kids. There's so many things that you still get from out of Quizalize rather. So today is June 5, 2020. Moving on, by the way, I'd like to introduce to you our CEO and founder, Dr. Charles Wiles. He is from England, and he used to be part of the Google. He used to be the Google product manager. And please also allow to introduce myself. My name is Rosemarie Sison. As mentioned by our moderator, I am now the Southeast Asia Customer Success Manager, and well, I'm a passionate teacher and edtech advocate as well, and a proud mother of two. Right. So moving on, if you are new to Quizalize, you might get confused of, Quizalize and you're hearing ZZish. Are they one? Are they the same? Or what? So actually, there's no confusion out there because Quizalize is powered by ZZish. That means to say that this is fall only in one company, which is a British company that caters edtech platforms. Are very, it's very effective, or it's proven to be effective in achieving a lot of success in teaching by creating formative assessments. So not just formative, but as well as summative assessment. And then driving instructions through differentiation and tracking student mastery of standards and more. When we say tracking student mastery, we are talking about real-time tracking of a student and mastery. If we will be using the online, so that's real-time. Good news is that for those areas that doesn't have any, or limited resources, let's say internet connectivity or unlimited resources like gadgets. So you can still track the student mastery in almost real time if the offline solution or the offline side of the platform Quizalize and ZZish you will be using. Right, so we also have the three main core products. For those who are new to ZZish and Quizalize, these are the three main core products of Quizalize. We do have the Quizalize where students will answer activities and teachers will create their own personalized activities. Well, for those areas that do love standardized, assessment, they could as well use Quizalize. So that can be a standardized and personalized assessment. Okay, so moving on, we also have the ZZish Hub. ZZish Hub, this is a part of the system where you could get all the informations that you need to help out to address the issues of your students when it comes to academic. When we talk about academics, so ZZish Hub, it's like this is your part of the system where you could get all those data. And we also have the ZZish Insights. If we have people that are part of the education administrators out there, or if you are a leader or the heads or the department heads of a school, well, this ZZish Insights is the part of the product for you, because you would get the consolidated data of everything your teachers are getting coming from their ZZish app. Again, ZZish Insights, where you could get all those consolidated data coming from your teachers' ZZish apps. So, and we are talking about, when we collecting data, we are talking about the real time if your teachers and students are using the online version, and almost real time for the offline version. So those are the three main core products. Moving on, let's talk about how these platforms work. As I mentioned earlier, Quizalize online. Of course, whenever we hear online, these are the things that we need. We need to have the gadgets available, right? We also have to have the connectivity available. And of course, the browser. I only chose the Google here, but it also works for other browsers like Firefox. If you're using Apple, then you use Safari or any available browser you have in your gadget. Okay, this is the basic. One of the basics that I'd like to impart to you about using Quizalize is that when you're using this with your kids, remember to always give them these three steps. One is to make sure that they open the browser, of course, and the other one is to direct them to their portal, which is zzi.sh. Do not give them the do not give them the zish.com site, because a lot of students out there, they're playful, zish.com well, they can go through that page, a landing page of ZZish and Quizalize. However, I highly recommend you to direct your students to their portal, which is zzi.sh. Okay, so I'm going to show you that later why I have to give emphasis on these basics. And then lastly is that they need a code for them to be able to access their classes and their activities. So code is just like a key into a room, but there are also other things like settings, class settings. We call it class settings that you can use to make your activities more secure. What I'm saying is that whenever your students have the class code, they can anytime enter your class, right? It's just like a key. But inside the classroom rather, there are things that they could explore in the classroom. But for as long as you're not giving them a permission, then they will not able to access those activities. So I'd like to give emphasis on this is that class code here is just part of the access point for your student. We have so many, not so many, but we have choices or options for your students to access the activity even though they have the class code. All right, so these are the basics. I hope you have learned the basics, and I hope from today onwards, after the discussion, you will be able to use or utilize your ZZish account. Now let's talk about the Quizalize Scan app. So this is the offline version that I was mentioning earlier. If you do have a limited access to internet connection, or you do have limited available resources such as cell phones or laptop or desktop, then do not worry because we also have the Quizalize Scan app. Actually, if you're using Android phones right now, you can able to download it from your Google Play App Store. You can download it now and you can explore it while we are discussing if you wish. Right. So how about those gadgets that is a little high end? Like for example, Apple, let's say those kind of system. Do we have available application for that? Unfortunately, no. I'm sorry to tell you for now that we do not have the version for those kind of version of this gadget system. Why? Because we are now focusing on a lot of more basic features that everyone can use and maximize the benefits of ZZish and Quizalize, especially now that we are on these pandemic days. So yeah, again, you can download it now from your Google App Store if you are an Android user. Moving on, what are the things that you need with your Chrysalis Scan app or the offline version of your account is one, of course, is generated activity from your online account. Yes, these activities are printable. By the way, as of the moment, it is limited for the multiple type of questions. So when you have your online account, you will have that option to download and print those activities only if you have multiple type of questions. So just in case you do not or you can't able to print those activities, whatever activities you are on now, and you can't print it or it's not working, that print icon there, that means to say that you have other question types in your activity, right? So again, generated printable activity located in your online account. You can download it from there and print it out. Okay, what else do you need? You also need to print the bubble sheets. We call this bubble sheets where students need to answer. Okay, and the things that you need also is this QR code. This is the activity QR code. Again, this is from your online account. You can, all these things, you can download it from your online account. And as I mentioned earlier, if you do have problem with your gadgets, limited resources again, I think you can for the Philippines, especially, we have so much things that we need to address just to make sure that we still deliver quality education these days. Well, very fortunate for the Malaysian people because I've heard from Ruban and Mam, I forgot the name, sorry, near Malid Devi, is that right? So anyway, they're quite fortunate because compared to the Philippines, we still have those areas that doesn't have internet connectivity, right? So I think this is a really good things that you can pair with your alternative delivery modes because again, you can print out those activities, the bubble sheets, and just simply scan your QR code. What else do you need is, of course, your application, downloaded application. You do not need to have an internet connectivity when you use it. Again, teachers, you do not need to have rather this internet connection when you use the Quizalize scan application. Okay, so you can scan it offline, but right away you will get an instant score for your students. All right, but what's powerful about this is that when you go back online, and then synchronize those data that you captured, then you will get those in-depth analysis. Right, so I'm going to show you that live in a moment. Right, so that is Quizalize Scan app that again you can use and pair it with your alternative delivery modes for those areas that doesn't have a lot of resources available, just to still deliver quality education. Moving on, now, these are the things that we are going to cover for this session today. We are going to learn how to use the Quizalize, only the basic parts. What are those? One is how to create activity from the very scratch. And of course, tagging your questions to curriculum standards. I'm very happy to tell you, Malaysian teachers out there, Ruban and Mang Nilama. Sorry. Okay, so anyway, we have teachers out there from Malaysia who have shared their complete copy of your curriculum. So I'm very happy to tell you guys that your curriculum now is available in our system. You can use it now. Now, for those areas or countries, or again, areas in your countries, for example, that do have their own curriculum version, if you do have your own curriculum and you cannot find those curriculum in our system, just please feel free to send those copy to us and we will incorporate it to the system to make it available for you. For those Philippine educators out there, I'm happy to tell you that the Philippine curriculum is available in our system. Although we need to update it because I hear that there will be revisions in the curriculum. So, and for those people who do have those latest version, I would be happy to have the copy of that revision, and we will incorporate it also to the system to make it available for you. And then what else do we need to study today or learn today is how to assign activity. And of course, one of my favorite features in Quizalize is actually we can assign a follow-up activity which is differentiated already. What does it mean? Meaning to say we can able to assign an automated follow-up activity depending on the scores of your students. For example, you have given them a 1 to 10 as, activity, for example, a short quiz. Of course, we're expecting different responses there. For example, we will get less than 50% output or 80, let's say 60 to 80 average from the scores. And we also have those advanced students will get a really good score. So we can able to assign a follow-up activity depending on the scores that your students will be getting. I'm going to show you that live in a little while. Okay, so these things are just the basic parts of Quizalize or features that you might as well want to know. And apart from this, is of course we will also talk about the data that you could get out of the responses of your students when you give them assessment. Okay, right. So let's go live. I think if you are a new user, one of the requirements that I am going to ask from you for you to be able to get your certification of participation for today is to sign up where you will sign up. Okay, you just open your browser and then just go to zish.com, quizalize.com, or zish.com. It's not a problem at all. You are just in one page anyway. So go to zish.com and then you go to the teacher login tab. This is what I'm saying earlier. That's why I gave you this student portal. You know, I'll show you the difference. Well, the difference between these two is that when you direct your student to the student portal, this is what they're getting or they will be getting. So right away, they will be directed to this page. Right, they're not seeing anything that could be a distraction for them. Because when you give this site to them, the zish.com, as you can see, a lot of things out here, pictures and all, and most especially the chat support. It works 24 hours, by the way. So I've encountered so many students who are playing this part of our system, which is the chat support. Some of the students are very playful, like asking for the answer for that particular item. So sometimes the Southeast Asian team are very kind. Sometimes you do help your student. Kidding aside, no. Okay, so let's go back here again. If you are directing your student to their portal, you have to give them the right one, which is the zzai.sh. But if you are a teacher, a leader, whatever your position is, for as long as you are part of the education community, you just simply go to the teacher login. So click the tab here. If you do not have an account yet, you sign up there. By the way, just to give you an information that these days we are offering free premium to everyone in the world. You hear it right. Yes, free premium. Meaning to say, if you're a new user and you wish to have a premium access for you to be able to maximize the benefits of ZZish and Quizalize, or to learn if this really works for your organization or whatever your reason is, right? So you just go to sign up here and sign up. It's a very simple step. Anyway, you just have to give your name. You just have to write your name here, and then you give your email address, and you of course need to create your password, and you have to confirm the password, right? So this is the easiest way on how you're going to sign up your account. But remember to always make sure that you are using a legit email account. Why? Because just in case you will have a trouble with your account and you're not sure if you have used the right account or email account or a legit account, then we can't do anything about fixing your, helping you out, fixing your account and all, right? So you have to make sure that you are, really using an active email and a legit email, of course. Now, if that is the case, and I will also introduce to you the other options to signing up. These two here, signing up with ZZish or signing up using the Premade or signing up to sign up using the Quizalize, these are
Good evening, everyone. I Good evening, everyone. Very sorry. Please give a few more minutes for our speaker to get back to online because I think she's facing internet connectivity problem. As always, we are facing sometimes in this kind of live chats, live webinars, we are facing connectivity problem. So I think you can be patient for next couple of minutes for her to get back to her talk. Just hang on a minute. But anyway, if you are in front of your laptop, you can always log into quizzes what this.com. You may explore for a few minutes until our speaker is online again. Well, as mentioned by our speaker just now, Quizalize actually has a lot of benefits, especially for teachers to explore during this time around, where if you happen to attend webinars, you should have gotten a lot of information on using various tools. And this is one of the tools that you may explore in order to engage our students so that you are able to get information and get the insights of another new tool. And what more, she mentioned just now that you can have printable worksheets with QR codes. And what more interesting is that related to our
Hello.
syllabus. Yeah, she's back. Hi, Rose. You're back.
Ah, yeah,
Okay,
I'm
not
sorry.
to
I think I
worry.
lost my internet connection.
Yeah, yeah, okay, not to worry. Just continue.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
glad.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so I think I believe I stopped on this logging in step, right? So again, I was saying earlier, so whenever you want to go back to your account, just always go to the login and then click the login tab. Okay, so there you go. This is my account, by the way. So do not worry if you can see similar page on your page, especially if you are a new one, right? So I'm going to show you how it looks like if you are a new user. I will just open a new browser and I'll go to zish.com so you can follow me. By the way, if you are, well, I'm encouraging you to follow the step by step. So after this session, you will be confident enough to at least explore ZZish and Quizalize at least with the use of the basic features. So if you are new, then this is how it looks like for you. I go to teacher login and I will sign up so you can follow me. Okay, so I will sign up, for example, and then I will use create password. Okay. And then click the I agree to the terms and then click the create account tab. Right. So this is for the new user, by the way. As you can see, you have to choose your role if you are a student or if you are a teacher. Of course, all of us, I believe, are teachers here. So you go to I'm a teacher, and this is what I'm saying earlier that you will have instant access to premium if you are a new user. That is, you just signed up today. And it says here you'll be asked if you wish to have the premium access. So just choose between the two options here, the yes please or no thank you. Then if you wish to have a premium access, click the yes please, and now you have already the premium access. Now this is an option. If you wish to refer some friends who do you think can use Quizalize also these days, so you can give the email address here or just skip this one if you want to skip this part of the signing up thing. There you go. Right. So if you're a new user, actually, it will pop a very quick walkthrough for you. It will pop a walkthrough for you, as you can see here. Yeah, you might want to check that out. Or if you do not need that, then just simply click the X tab here. to skip viewing this quick walkthrough. Okay, so there you go. This is how it looks like for the new user. Right. So to begin with, I will actually go back to my account and I will give you a brief introduction on the important details that everyone would like to know from Quizalize. Okay. I will open one of my existing accounts here. For example, I will use this one. This class. Okay. So once you have opened one of your class, especially if you have given already assessment, for example, this class May 19 Webinar 1 is one of my classes and I'd like to analyze, where my students at in this class. Okay, so as you can see, these are the example of the given assessment to your students, right? So these are the example of the activities. As you can see, the first activity, the sample activity has given to the class, but as you can see, there is no icons here. So that means to say that this activity is not yet used or given to your student, or they haven't answered it yet. Okay, and these are the example of the ones completed by your student. So as you can see, we have icons here next to the title of your activity. And by just simply looking at the icons, in education, we do have this understanding, like, if we do have a lot of students who are really strong in that particular activity, that means to say that your activity might be not very challenging for your students. So you might wish to, modify your activity and give it to your class and make it more challenging. Now, the other side of it is that if you are seeing a lot of students failing in that particular activity, that means to say that your activity might be very difficult for that class. So what you can do is to analyze the data and then understand where you can modify your activity and give it to your class, make it more aligned to the ability of your students in that particular group. Okay, so what are the indications of these icons here? So green ones are the students who are really strong. Okay, and the orange one are the students who are almost there, and the red ones are the students who are actually needing our help. Okay, or should I say failing students? Okay. Now, if you wish to analyze it, very simple. You just need to click the Analyze tab here. Let's go and open one. For example, this PAV activity here with these icons. I think, I have 5 strong students. So click the Analyze tab there, and you will be directed to what we call the ZZish hub. This is the second part of the ZZish and Quizalize. This is now the ZZish hub. Okay, so what you can get from here are the things that you really need for your analysis and understand where you need to deliver help. Okay, so we do have the who needs help here, what they need help with, the differentiation thing, the improvements, the result tables, subtopics, and export. We will actually explore this a little more. I mean, live, we will have an activity before we end up the discussion, and then there we will discuss further these details, these data here that you can get from the Zisha. Now, just simply click the back tab here. Okay, so I think those are one of the things, the basic things that you need to know with Quizalize. Okay, so before we create activity from the scratch, let me introduce to you these things. Actually, this one is just very new. Need help whenever you need help, whenever you have questions in mind, and you are a little shy to approach us for the question, then you can anytime click this need help here, and you will be directed to our help page, and you can type in the questions, whatever you want to ask there. Well, of course, related should be related to the how to use the Quizalize Quizalization, Quizalize. Otherwise, if you have other questions, then please feel free to approach us here. Anyway, let's go to the grade book. So when you click the grade book, you already have instant access to the activities you have given to your students. As you can see here, I have 3 activities here, right? And these are the averages my students got or the scores, yeah, the equivalent of their scores here. And as you can see, automatically you will also get the average score. So how do we compute the average? Is normally we what we do is, we add all of those items and then we divide those items in, the number of items. So we have three here, we get all the averages here, and then we divide those averages by how many the total number of activities you have given to your student. And there you go. As you can see, for example, Agnes Ivy got this and this to these two activities, and then none from the other activities, so she got the 80% average in total. Okay, so that is just the grade book. Now let's move forward to the mastery. This is really powerful, because a mastery could give you an idea on how many totals of competencies you need to teach or to test with your student. Okay, for example, I've used these curriculums here, and in this particular course, for example, the Philippine curriculum grade 1 to 10 English grade 6, I have 412 in total competencies, and as of the moment, I only have one tested skills out of those 412. Right, so if you want to get an in-depth analysis of your students, just simply click those curriculums that you have used. For example, this one, we use this one because it has um, quite good color combination, right? So click it, and then you will get an instant analysis on the stand of your student against to the curriculum, oh sorry, against to the skills that you need to teach them. As you can see here, 2%, we have reached 2% performance, and then the skills being tested are 2 out of 44. And as you can see, the skills have already grouped according to the quarters or depending on their quarters. So very powerful tool, I think. If you wish to analyze your students against the curriculum standards, then go through this mastery dashboard here and you have that access. Okay. All right. So that's mastery. Actually, you can sort it out. So you can use the filters here and choose whatever the curriculums you have used for this particular class. Okay. So that is mastery. When you go to the activity list rather, that could give you the access to all of your classes. Okay, as you can see here, we have a drop down here, and you can actually access all the classes that you wish to analyze. And apart from that, you can add more classes from here or edit your classes and students. Okay, now let's go to the resources. Whenever we want to create our own activities, personalized activities, or grab available resources, yes, you've heard it right. We have so many available resources out there that you can use. Actually, you can modify, you can contextualize them, or even align it to your curriculum standard. That's not a problem. We do have the resources here. When you click the resources, it will give you the option to discover available resources that you can use, or whenever you want to access your own activity, you will just go to the My Library, and there you have it. You have the access to all of the activities that you have created. This is really good because, for example, you are teaching the same level. For example, I have taught, for example, a second year level last year, and I will again teach a second year level next year. What is good about this is that all of your resources are in your My Library, and you can reuse it, recycle it, whatever you want with it. Actually, you can share it also with your colleagues if you wish, for them to use those activities. Yes, you can do those things with this feature here. All right, now let's start creating activity from the scratch. Very easy. What you can do is, just click the create a new class here. Actually, when you go to the activity list, again, this is your access to all of your classes, right? And you can as well use the assign a new activity here. When you click it, whenever we talk about activity, that is resources. So whenever you think of creating activity or accessing any activities, just remember to always click those things, assign an activity, and create new quiz. So let's start creating a new quiz from the very scratch. Click the create a new quiz. For the new users, that's very easy because you can find the create a new quiz on top of your page, or even in your class in the activity, right? So there you go. Let's share how it looks like for the new users. Okay, so if you're new users, this is what we get. Okay, so you just go to activity list so you can catch up with what I mentioned earlier. And again, the create a new quiz is always there. You can anytime click it and then create the quiz. All right, for the new users, this is how it looks like. Okay, let's go back. Now, we have already clicked the create a new quiz, right? So this is how it looks like. For the very not tech savvy, just think of it that this is a blank page, for example, a Word document, right? But it has, advanced features that could make your life more easier. Okay, so don't get anxious of the new things that you can see on your screen. Right, so it's very self-explanatory. Where we should write the title, that should be in the quiz title. So, for example, short quiz for webinar one, for example. Okay, so all right. So when you click the align a quiz to standard or topic here, click it, and then you will have the option to align this particular activity to your curriculum standard or whatever standard you would like to use. As I mentioned earlier, really good for Malaysian teachers because I believe we do have yes, I think yes. As you can see, we have the Malaysian curriculum available to your system. But since I am from the Philippines, okay, I'll be using the Philippine curriculums. We do have the ALS, Alternative Learning System, grade 1 to 10. And for the senior high school, you might find some curriculum not available in the system. Don't worry. If you do have the copy again, send those over to us. We will incorporate those curriculums to our system to make it available for you. But in this case, I will click the Philippine curriculum grade 1 to 10. And then I will select the subject. For example, since my major is social studies, I'll be using, of course, the Filipino version of the social studies, which is Araling Panlipunan. And then after that, I have to select the grade. Okay, so for example, grade 2. You can actually custom the topic if you wish. Just simply click the add custom topic here, but this is not part of our our topics for today. So if you wish to know more, that we conduct series of weekly sessions for everyone out there for free. Okay, you wish to cancel it, then you go and cancel it. But right now, I'll show you what's next after this. So let's go and submit this one. Okay, so this is how it looks like. This is the thing that we need to make sure of, that's showing that this is showing, because this is an indication for you that your activity is already aligned to your curriculum. Okay, now let's start creating a question. Just simply click the add a new question here, and there you go. So you need to understand the features that you would see from here, because once you manage to understand how this thing works, you can actually create a lot of questions after this. Okay, so to help you out understand the things here, of course, it's very self-explanatory that you need to write the question here, right? Don't worry if the back is too small for you. You can actually drag it and you can write unlimited characters in it. If you wish to have articles in your question, instructions, whatever you want to put in your question, then feel free. Okay, you can add characters there as much as you like. Okay, but let's focus here first. Okay, the settings on the left side. As you can see, it has a duration here. What's that mean? Meaning to say, you can set a time duration in a specific question, right? Now, let's understand the objective of setting up a duration, because we have so many users out there that are very new and doesn't have the chance, for example, to attend our webinars to understand how it really works, the objective, and all of these things. And sometimes they are quite bored of reading all the, our help page. We do have so many, we do have a lot of resources out there that you can use as reference. while you are using the platform. But we encourage you to attend to our webinars because it's really good to have, um, what's this? A live session that you can able to follow, the step by step. Anyway, going back, what is the objective of the duration here? Because we have so many users again coming back to us and asking why is it or why is that so that the time limit is already done. However, my students still can able to answer the activity. Now, if that's the question, I always ask those teachers, let's go back to the objective. What is your objective? What is your objective of giving out assessment to your student? So, well, in my own point of view, our objective is to actually help our student get a better mastery of whatever learnings we are giving them out. Okay, some of you might not, agree with me on that part, but as a passionate teacher, well, I think that's the objective of the assessment. We try to figure out where we need to give assistance with our student because we want them to have a better mastery of whatever they're learning. Plus, also that we want them to have a retention, right? So if that is the reason, then why we do have the duration here? This is because we want to also challenge our student, challenge them to answer this particular activity in that given duration. So that could help those teachers understand whether or not we are weighing correctly the question. For example, we think that the question is very easy and we give them 30 seconds for that. However, those students actually did not meet the time limit. Actually, they have answered, like, for example, in 1 minute. So, in that way, that data could help the teacher understand that your judgment actually in that particular question is wrong. So what you need to do is you have to modify it. Make sure that you are giving them out the right, level of questioning, for the students. So this is the objective why we do have the duration. To understand again, if we teachers do really think or help us understand whether we are weighing the questions correctly. Okay, if we think that's average and we think that your students can able to answer it in this particular period of time, then do so. Okay, don't worry because if you don't want to set a duration, we do have the settings later on that you can actually turn it off. But to give you to again emphasize on that part, that is the objective of why we have the duration settings there. Again, the objective of the assessment is not to give burden for the students, but rather help them to achieve better mastery and long retention of whatever they're learning. I hope that's clear. Now let's move on. You also have the math mode here. Whenever you wish to, for example, create questions, yeah, and you need to create questions with special symbols. For example, square root, as any symbols that you need to use for your math questions. You need to turn on this math mode. And by the way, right now, creating math mode question is really easy because we have created and deployed already a really good, a very powerful tool where you can able to just copy and paste all the symbols or all the codes that you need to create those symbols. We are inviting you to our succeeding webinars because we show those things. But since this is not the basic topics that we need to cover today, I'm not going to give emphasis on that. But anyway, whenever you wish to create math questions with special characters, then go and click the math mode thing. Turn it off if you don't need it. Right. So, can you insert images in your? Yes, you can. Just click the use images here. Actually, this made very simple just recently. So whenever you wish to create multiple choice with images, very simple now because you do have this tab here. Just simply click the upload image or this arrow up there whenever you want to get images from your computer. Now you can actually use images from the browser. Just go to your browser, for example, flower. Yeah, and just copy the URL. Just example, this is the URL. Copy the URL, and then click the add image here, and then paste the URL here, and then just simply click the add button. So cancel it if you do not want it. Again, whenever you wish to insert images in your questions, just turn on and off this tab here, okay? Now, let's go to the next tab, the use audio. Okay, you can record yourself and then insert that recorded voice recorded rather, insert it to your question, part of the question. Yes, you can. So just make sure that you click the tab here to use the audio. And last, the very powerful one is actually the text to speech. Really good. Why? Because when you turn this on, especially if you are teaching, for example, reading, using other language, if you're not a native speaker and you are teaching English actually and you want to impart good pronunciation of those words, for example, use the text to speech, create the question here, for example, flower, and then again, make sure to turn this on, and you can actually choose what specific language you wish to use, and your student will get this tab here, and they will have the chance to read those questions in that chosen language here. So very powerful. Turn it off if you don't want to. Now, let's go and create questions now, okay? By the way, we do have 16 question types available, but today we will just be using the multiple type of question, I think the easiest one, just for you to understand how the features work, the basic features work. Anyway, let's go and start question. For example, I think this is Araling Panlipunan, right? Araling Panlipunan Social Studies, okay? To be fair with other audience there that are not Filipino, I will create a social study question, okay? Example, in English, okay? So, for example, what is the capital of the Philippines? Okay, so you have already created a question there. Again, if you wish to create more or add more characters, you can do so, okay? Now, we need to always make sure to set the correct answer here. Otherwise, the system will not able to check your students' work. Okay, so since we'll be using multiple type of question, of course, we need to create insert the correct answer here. For example, the capital of the Philippines is Manila. And we need to, of course, multiple question type question, we need to have the incorrect answer. So I will use the given example. So for example, London, Toronto, and then Berlin, for example. Okay, now I have already created a simple question using the what's this, the multiple type of question. Okay, answer explanation is optional, but I always recommend this with the teachers who have attended my session. Why? Especially if you're giving your students a review session, because this part of the quiz editor here, the answer explanation, could help your student understand why this is the correct answer. So imagine they are learning by themselves, right? So whenever they incorrectly answer a particular question, we're talking about review, by the way. The question will pop, and if you have set the correct answer, then the correct answer also will pop. One thing is for sure there, that is an experience for the students, and that can be a memorable experience for the student. That could start a retention, a good retention in that particular topic that he or she is currently on. So that's why I highly recommend you guys to use this answer explanation here, to give, or to maximize experience on the part of the student. Really good. This is really good. Very helpful. But that is optional. If you don't want to use it, then do not. Okay. Remember, we have aligned this particular activity to a specific curriculum standard. So here is the magic here. Just click this tab here, and there you go. You get all the competencies, right? So in the Philippines, I don't know in other part of the world, by the way, but in the Philippines, we normally have a lot of papers on our table just to make sure that, questions are aligned correctly to the specific, competencies and all. But with this tool, you do not actually need to do it because it's already available there, and they just need to click a particular competency. There you go. The question is already aligned in the particular competency and in this curriculum guide. Okay, so we have created a question already. Now, if you wish to add more, again, repeat those steps. Just click add a new question and then repeat those steps. Okay, so I'm not going to create another one, but always remember to check this one. Otherwise, if you did not check the curriculum skills here, the system will read it as if that is also aligned in a similar curriculum, skills and competencies rather. The click it no and look for the other one if you want to. Okay? So this time I will just delete this second question here. So there you go. We have already created the question. Now, for those teachers who are teaching English, for example, and you need to have an article with different set of questions, each number, you do not have to manually copy and paste those things because you can actually just simply click the copy here or this one, this icon here, and there you go. The question is already copied for you, and modify those questions if you wish. Okay, so I'll delete this question. There you go. And I always recommend to the teachers out there to always preview your activity first before you give it out to your student. Why? Because very important that you need to see it first on your end so you could, able to fix the problems, whatever the problems your students might be getting, right? So click the student preview here and you will be able to see how it looks like on the side of your student. For example, this one. Click the start here. Okay, there you go. This is the question I have created. What is the capital of the Philippines? The answer is London. Oh, I'm wrong. That should be Manila. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you have given them the answer explanation, there is an answer explanation here, and it's really good because the student could also learn by themselves. So, click it off. Always remember, this is basic, but always remember to save your activity to your library. Otherwise, if you forgot to save it and you close down your window, then we will have a trouble finding out, your activities, the created activities rather. Now, if you are confident enough to yourself that these activities should go to your student, then go and click the save and give to class. All right. So this time we will do the save and give to class. Okay, so we have done already the creating the basic question types. We also have done aligning those questions to our curriculum standard. Now let's go and assign an activity now. Okay, so this is how it looks like. After clicking the save and give to your student, you will be directed to what we call the activity setting. Mind you that you need to choose, okay, your preferred settings because whatever the setting you choose, that will be out to your student, okay, and that will be the things that they will be getting. The reason why I need to give emphasis on this is because again, we have so many users out there that do not know, the functions of the settings here. So they come back to us, normally come back to us and say all those things. And after that, we figure out that it's because of the setting. Okay, moving on. Remember to always check, make sure that you are assigning those activities to your preferred class. For example, assigning to class, of course, I will use this inspired that my class 6 5. Okay, I will use this one. There you go. So again, make sure to always check whether you are assigning the activity in your preferred class. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. We have three options, three settings here. We have the playing class, assign as a homework, and assign as exam. Again, always remember to check and make sure that you're happy with the settings before you send it out to your students. Okay, so you do not have the scenario where you are very shocked of why my students are getting this and that. Okay, right. So the only difference of playing class and assign as a homework here is that when we assign as a homework, of course, we normally understand that this activity can be done in a later date. So when you use assign as a homework here, you can actually set those activities in a particular day and time, okay? And make sure that you have also set the end time for this activity. Why? Because remember in my introduction, I was telling you guys that even though your students have the class code and you have set, these settings correctly, even though they have that key to enter their class, but if the activity is not yet the time for them to access, then they cannot be able to access it. Okay, so it's really good if you are preparing for the next school year and you are uploading all of these things here in your class, and then just make sure that you are setting those dates in correct time. Okay, so you do not need to manually check your account from time to time just to make sure that they are not or they are accessing your activity. But mind you guys that you need to also make sure that your gadget and students gadget are on the same time zone. Okay, why? Because the students will not able to see your activity if your students in another time zone. For example, United Kingdom time zone, the students gadget is on that time zone, and you are in the Philippine time zone or Malaysian time zone. Now, so whatever you do, the students will not get your activity on the time. So make sure that you guys are on the same time zone. Okay, playing class is almost similar to assign as homework, but you also have the option here to assign a particular activity in a later date. Now, let's go down a little down here. Mastery mode is really good if you are giving a review session for your student, because when you click this on, what will happen is that those incorrect items of your student, the incorrect answer of your students, what happened will be those questions will be go back to the end of those questions, the 7 questions you gave them, and they need to answer it correctly before they can totally finish that particular activity. So that's why it's called mastery mode, because this setting is making sure that your students are getting that mastery that you want. Okay, so turn it off if you don't want to. Right. So I think the rest, almost everything here, are self-explanatory. Apart from, always make sure, a lot of teachers got a mistake here because they forgot to check the number of attempts, because if you did not check the number of attempts here, automatically you are giving your students an unlimited attempt. So we do not want to make that happen, right? And so always make sure to check the number of items here. We can actually give a minimum of 1 attempt up to unlimited attempt. Okay, for the review, it's really good to give them a multiple attempt, right? For the serious one, I don't think multiple attempt could work or unlimited attempt could work. Okay, another thing that you want to also check, okay, the number of items is really good. For example, you have created 10 questions, or let's say 50 questions, and you only want to give 5 questions out of those 50. You can actually control it. Okay, but in this case, since I'm using only one question, it only shows one. So what will happen here is that your students are getting different set of questions coming out from that specific questions that you created. Imagine you have 30 students, or let's say 100 students, and you only gave them 10 questions out of your 50 questions. Okay, so they will get randomly a set of questions, sorry, they're getting different set of questions coming from your original activity. In the Philippines, we normally use the set A, set B, set C, and all. So we actually do not need to do that here, because even the question will be randomized also. Okay, so that's the number of questions. When you click the advanced options here, you also would get the randomization question order. When you click it, as I mentioned earlier, you do not need to create other set of activities just to make sure that cheating will be prohibited, something like that. Okay, so when you randomize it, again, the question will be randomized to your student. And if you're using a multiple type of questions, as if you remember earlier, I did not use the ABCD thing, because even those options will be randomized as well. Okay, so allow students to see results. Again, these are a lot things here. These settings here, the other options are more of self-explanatory anyway. Okay, so show feedback and answer. Again, turn it off or on if you wish. Okay, so teachers the favorite part of the teacher here. I don't know in other countries, right? So we normally give words of wisdom or some reminders for the students. You can actually do it also here. Say, for example, in this case, I will just simply use good luck. But if you wish to paste some Bible verses or some article that could, avoid students to do bad things, it's up to you. Or a whole story coming from a book, it's up to you because this one is a box where you can enter unlimited characters out there. All right. So once you're happy with this, by the way, so playing class and assign as a homework are almost similar. Okay. Now, what is the difference of assign as a homework here? Is that the rest of the settings are disabled. What are the things that are enabled? One is a confirm and skip answer. Hard. This is hard enabled, meaning to say, once you use the assign as activity here, the students will get the confirm. Once they're happy with the answer, they can able to confirm by just clicking the confirm tab and then change, like they're erasing an answer, or for example, they've changed their mind and they need to change the answer, they can do that. Or skip the question if they are not yet ready to answer the question, and then that question will be moved to the very end of that activity, and then they will go back to that item for them to answer it. Again, randomization is an option for you. Okay, and what else do you get from here? Show your work, so you can enable or disable it. Show your work. More of self-explanatory, but you can allow your student here to capture their work. Okay, so once you're happy with that, you have the option here to assign this particular activity to multiple classes or assign this activity in one class. So this time, let's do and assign this activity in a particular class. Okay, what should we get after clicking that? Right, so here we go now. We have done the creating activity from the very scratch. We have aligned those questions to our curriculum standards. We have assigned the activity, and now let's talk about the differentiated activity or the automated follow-up activity that you can use with your student. This is really powerful. I love this as a teacher because this really address, the issues most of the teachers are facing. One of the very challenging, I should use, and I always use the word challenging, because if your profession is from the heart, or your profession, you treat your profession as if your better half, something like that, you will never find teaching that hard. Okay, you will always say it's challenging rather saying hard. Okay, so one of the challenging things a teacher are facing in a classroom setup is making sure of giving out equal attention to all of the students. In the Philippine setup, before, but right now we are improving in the number of students in the class, right? But like year ago, or years ago rather, we actually have like 40 to 50 students in the class, and a teacher is having hard time to figure out right away the stand of the student, and where she can able to address, or where exactly she can able to give assistance with, right? But with this tool, it's very simple. You just have to set those differentiated follow-up activities here by just simply clicking the tabs available. For example, oh, by the way, you can skip this if you don't want to assign follow-up activity, but I highly recommend this for you to use this to maximize the learning time also for your student. Okay, so if you click these things here, these icons are clickable. Okay, when you click these icons here, you will get access to the available resources that you can use as a follow-up activity. But if you wish to use your own, just simply click the choose your own resources here. You can actually upload the PDF, upload the YouTube video, upload the web link here. You will be directed to your My Library. So if you wish to use your available resources, then do so. Okay, for example, I'll just go back. We are talking about students who will get a score of less than 50%. So just simply click the choose your own resources here, or again, click those icons there to get an instant access to available resources that you can use. Okay, let's go to your library. Well, I will use my experience as a teacher, okay? So what I understand is that if your students are getting less than 50% score, that means to say that the interest is not yet there. So you need to get the interest of those students, a group of students. So normally in my webinars, I always give an example like, assigning a follow-up activity which are more of interest, interest catcher or eye catcher for the students, right? What are those? Videos, for example. I will use this particular video here available. Simply click the assign tab there, and there you go. You have already assigned a video for this group of a student will get less than 50%. Okay, I will do it. I'll just delete it and I'll go to choose your resources again for those who want to go with me. And then if you wish to, look for YouTube, for example, you go to YouTube and then you wish to use a particular video in YouTube, just go to YouTube and then get the icon, sorry, the URL rather. For example, this is the URL. No, I will get a specific example. Okay, right. So for example, uh-huh. No, I don't want that. Okay, I will look for inspire.mind, for example, videos. Inspire.mind, okay. So I will grab a particular video, for example, this video right now, and I will simply copy the URL and go back here and paste that URL, click the confirm tab, and there you go. You have already assigned that particular video for that group of students who will get the less than 50%. So right after they have answered the activity and they got the score or they will get that score, automatically they will be directed to that particular assessment that you have assigned. Okay, now let's go and assign an activity for the group of students who will get the 50 to 80%. Let's go choose your own resources. Again, you can always visit those icons there for available resources. Okay, for this group of students, in my understanding, the interest is almost there. Okay, so you might as well want to give them, for example, a document where they can, read the information of the topic, or an article, for example, from your browser. For example, I will go to my browser and I will look for an article. For example, this one, I will just simply copy the URL and then I will click the upload web link here and then paste the URL and then click the confirm tab, and there you go. You have already assigned an article for those group of students. Okay, and now as you can see, you also have the options here to followed by the same quiz, meaning to say, after the activity and they get this follow-up activity, they can go back again to your previous activity and they will answer that activity again. And there you go, you will have the comparison whether or not they have improved or not. So if you wish to make that happen, not just a follow-up activity, but also with additional assessment, then go and click the stop. Okay, if you don't want, then untick that box rather. Okay, now let's go back. Let's go to this group of students who will get 80% or more. So for this group of students, the interest is always there. It's already there rather. So what you need for this group of students are just follow-up activities or enrichment rather. Okay, again, the interest is already there. What they need is more of an enrichment thing. So what you can do is click the choose your resources here so you can, assign another follow-up activity. For example, this one. Okay, that is another follow-up activity. So click the assign tab and there you go. Again, you always have the option to give the same activity after the follow-up activity. So imagine you have set this correctly and you have so many things that you need to do, but At the same time, you also want to make sure that you're giving out, equal attention, addressing the needs of your students depending on their performances. Still, you can do that, right? So you just need to make sure that you're setting it up correctly. Now, once you're done with that, you're happy, click the I'm done, and there you go. Your activity is already available. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Right. Now, this is the moment where I want every one of you, actually not every one of you, I might limit it to, let's say, 100 to 200 participants, okay? Don't worry. For those who are attending the session right now, don't worry if you cannot able to get the chance to, part of this activity that I'm going to create for you, do not worry because I'll be sending out a registration link after this session for you to be able to still get the certification of participation, okay? But for those who are very quick, like the mobiles are already available there, or the computer is already available. Here we go. I am going to assign an activity for you. I will click the assign tab. I will go to my library. Very simple one. Just to give you an example on the distance learning we are using, where we are using Quizalize rather, and see whether this really works. Okay, I will give you the brain teaser. I will assign, click the assign tab, and yes, that's on the right. Yes, the right class. And yes, I will click the mastering mode and the sound as well to show the timer. Okay, but I will only give you one attempt here. And remember, this activity has 10 questions, so I will only give you five. Okay, out of those 10 questions. Okay. Now, randomization, yes, I will give you a randomization order. And then, yes, no, okay. So I would say good luck. Okay. I will click the assign activity here, and I will assign a differentiated activity or follow-up activity rather. If you will score less than 50%, this is what you get. Um, oh, this one. Okay, video. And yes, follow up the same quiz again. Okay, now if you will get 50 to 80%, I will definitely give you an article about ZZish. Example, this is an activity. Okay, I will click the upload web link here, and then I will paste the URL and confirm it. So if you have, or if you will be getting 50 to 80%, this is the link that I've given you, and click the followed by the same quiz afterwards. Now, if you will be getting the 80% or more, I will give you another assessment, which is the A. Hmm. Right, so I think this is good to go. I will click, so I'm done. Okay, let me see. Right now, we have like 67 active watching, so I think you guys can able to manage to answer this activity. Okay, so what you need to do, remember earlier that when we are giving our students instructions to use Quizalize, they need to go straight to the student portal. So guys, please could you go to the zzi.sh.com? Let me check. zzi.sh.com. So I'm going to open the browser here, zzi.sh or zzi.sh. Do not write .com, sorry. zzi.sh. There you go. So the class code is 7380. Oh, sorry. DXN DXN 7360. Okay. By the way, I have set this class to use a non-legit email account, right? So click the join my class. Once you are done, you have to follow my instructions. I'll go back here. So while the other ones are preparing for themselves to join the class, I'll just give you a quick look on how you are going to set up your class. When you click the add a new class, by the way, okay, this is how it looks like when you create a new class. Okay, whenever you create a new class, by the way, it will generate a new class code. Okay, a unique class code. Right, you have the option to sync your ZZish and Quizalize classes to your Google Classroom. Okay, we cover this syncing to Google Classroom in our other webinar sessions. But the basic thing here is that you can write the name of your class, for example, sample class, or you can name it with the section name of your class, sample class. And this is what I'm telling you earlier in the very first part of this session, that students actually have other options to access their activity. Even though they have the class code, they still have this option to enter the activity. If you wish to adjust the class code, then do so. But I do not recommend this much because of a lot of reasons. So again, our students are playful in the classroom setup. So I think especially now that we are in this distance learning, right? So to minimize those being playfulness of your students, I would rather recommend you to use the second option, which is the registering their own ZZish account via or with their email address and password. Question is, do they need to create a legit email account? No. This is just like a username, okay, that the students will use with their password. Okay, so that is the login procedure for the student whenever they want to access your classes and their results. Okay, so again, I think I recommend I better recommend to use this second option here than just the class code because of so many things. You can explore it, so you can encounter it by yourself. But if you wish to have a higher security for your student, then use their Google account. This means to say that the students then will need to use a legit email account or the Microsoft Office 365. But in this class, what I have used is the second option, okay, which is the registering your own or the own ZZish account with the email address. Click the create class, and there you go. You will get this option to right away align that class in a particular curriculum guide. So the advantage of using this feature here is that whenever you create an activity, you do not need to align again the activity that you will be creating because you have already aligned this class to that particular curriculum guide. But just in case you're teaching different subjects in a class, then I would rather suggest to skip this part. How to do it, like what we did earlier in our activity, just go and choose the curriculum, the subject, the grade, and so on. Okay, but for now, I'll skip it for now. Right, so I have show you, or I have showed you the settings that we are going to use for today. Right, so the setting is the using your email and password. So not just the class code. When you enter this student portal, you need to go to the or sorry, you have to enter the class code and click the join my class here. After that, you need to type your email address. You do not need to use your legit email account. No. What you just need to use is a username, but you need to listen to your teacher for that username. So you can give your students instructions on how they're going to create a username. I want you to use this kind of username, okay? So for example, your surname followed by period or dot, and then your first name at, for example, web, okay, inspire or web inspire.com, inspire my.com. Okay, guys, if you are watching right now and you are following all the steps that we've been discussing since earlier, and this is your chance to have that, certification participation that you are waiting, you need to follow the steps. Okay, so enter the class code And then you will be asked to put your email address or enter your email address. You do not need to enter your legit email address, okay? You just need to follow this format. Okay, you just need to create a username, but with this format. Surname followed by period or dot, and then followed by the first name, and then an at. Make sure that you're following this one, okay? At web-inspiremy.com, okay? So this is just an example on how you're going to instruct your student, okay? Depending on the type of the settings that you have created with your class. Now click the submit tab here and you will be asked to create your password. So your student then will be asked to create the password. So for example, in this case, I will use this password, right? So what if, for example, your student forgot your password? What will happen? They will be getting also that forgot password tab, and I think the teacher will give the link to the student for them to create again another password. Okay, I think this is more secure than just a class code. Okay, you have to enter your name, so you make sure that you are writing your name properly. There you go. Okay, because I will base the certification name here on how you're going to write your name. Once you're done with that, click the register tab here, and there you go. You have that access to the activity now. You can answer the activity after this. There you go. Click the start tab and start answering the activity. Let me check. Oh, I have so many students right here. Okay, I have how many? Wow, you're answering, huh? Already. Okay, cool. Now, as you can see earlier, this is empty, but since my students have started to entering the activity, as you can see, the icons are now available for me. At the moment, I have what? How many? I have four strong students, and I have what? I have quite a good number of almost their students, but as you can see, we have red ones. And the gray ones also are the students who have entered the activity but have not yet touched the questions. Okay. Now, if you have to get or if you want to get an in-depth analysis of their performances, just go and click the Analyze tab here. And there you go. You'll be directed to what we call the ZZish hubs. This is where you will be getting the information that you might need to understand your students and how you can help them better, so you have the options here to that you can share with your student, right? So you can share with your student the play leaderboard or the play versus a team versus team. I'd love to use the play team versus team. The concept of the team versus team is that the students will be divided into two. They will be divided randomly into two groups, and they'll be competing while they're answering the activity. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. How many students now I have? Okay. So I have opened the team versus team here. Let me check your movement. Hmm. Oh. Okay, it's manageable as of the moment. Okay, so this is how we interpret this one. So while the students are answering the activity, they move forward. Once they have reached the pole, that's an indication for the teacher that that student is already finished with the activity. Now, how can you use this tool, this specific dashboard, apart from motivational tool for your student? So you can use this as well as monitoring tool. As you can see, you are there, I am here, but still I can able to monitor your movements. For example, I can address Rosemarie Sison. Rosemary, what are you doing? Is there any problem that I can help you with because you're not moving forward? So that is an example of situation where you can use this tool again for motivational and monitoring purposes. Okay. So, all right, so I can call up the name of Marisa as well. I can say, Marisa, did I tell you that you need to write correctly your name? So something like that. I'm sorry to Marisa and to other names that I will be mentioning, right, for this whole um, part of this session. This is just an example. Chia Swan. You're almost there. Come on, keep it up. So something like that. A lot of things that you can use. Okay. So apart from this, what you can still do is click the analyze again tab here, and you will get the in-depth analysis already. What else do you get? So again, we also have the play leaderboard here. When you click it, it will show you the students who are doing really good in that particular activity. So you do have the options, two options. We actually have other options like the hoops, which is the concept is a basketball thing where the students will shoot the ball into the basket once they have answered the activity correctly or the question correctly rather. Now, let's go to more serious in-depth analysis or analyzation. We have here the who needs help. So when you click this tab here, the show me tab, it will give you the insights right away of the stand of your students. I mean, in this activity, yeah. So as you can see here, they have or you guys have already been grouped into how many? Three or actually four groups. We have strong students. I know who are the strong students right now as of this moment, and they're almost there, and the ones who needs my help. From here, as you can see, you're still answering the activity. I can right away address your problem. So I can call up the name of this group of students. I can, maybe discuss again the topic with them right away, with a small group and see what went wrong or where the problems are coming in. So, and also I can call up the attention of these students here who have no data. I can say, Rosita, what are you up to? Okay, she's gone. She moved to the other group now. Oh, Celeste, her boy. Oh, I know you. Okay, so Celeste. Okay, you can do it, Celeste. So those things are a really good example how you can use this tool really good because you can able to address equally the needs of your students depending on their output, right? So the names, by the way, are clickable. If you wish to analyze a specific student, for example, by the way, I will move back. I'm afraid that we are going to have a trouble if we have a lot of students who come into this class. So I will just stop the activity for now and discuss the things that you will get from the ZZish hubs. Oops. But keep on answering the activity, okay? Don't worry, I will open this activity again later. And again, I will give you the link to the registration thing. Okay, so right now we have the Kim Tiep Ho. Oh, really good. Well done, Kim. So this person, Kim, I have 35 as of the moment. This person, Kim, is really doing great. So let's go back to the ZZish Hub and talk about the rest of the things that you can, enjoy with this ZZish Hub. So again, I will click the Show Me tab. It will gives me those students depending on the strength and weaknesses of them. But you can use this particular dashboard in addressing an issue. For example, Marisa is really a good student of mine, but right now I can see her in this group. So you can actually click those name of the students to analyze individually. Click, for example, Marisa and find out why she is in that group. Oh, okay, now I understand. She has what? Two answered activity, and these two answered activities are both wrong. Okay, so this is how we read this thing. This is the question, for example, and this was the supposed answer map, but Marisa said ghost town. And how long Marisa answered the activity? In about 85.6 seconds. Wow, almost more than 1 minute. So I remember we have set the duration earlier. So even though you did not set the timer for your activity, you still will get this one. Okay. This could also again help you understand if you are judging those items correctly or weighing those questions correctly. And at the bottom, you will see the items correctly answered by the student. Okay, again, the names here of the students are clickable. You go back, you keep on answering, guys. I'm just showing you how it works in actual, okay? So you have the gear icon here. Remember, you can give multiple attempts to your student. You can actually choose what data you want to consider for your grading, for example. So if you wish to to use the first attempt of your student or the last attempt or everyone's strongest attempt. It's entirely up to you. The gear icon is always there. Okay, now let's go back. We have understand now that this group of students need my help. Now let's figure out the things that the specific areas where they need or what they need help with. Okay, click the show me tab here. And for the Philippines, we normally call this part of the dashboard as the frequency of error, the item analysis. This could also help you identify whether your distractors are good or not. How? Very simple. Okay, for example, this is a multiple type of question. The question is, which is heavier? Okay, now I gave the white box is always the correct answer. The red ones and the gray ones are the incorrect answers that you gave to your student. Now, the red ones are the incorrect answers that your students have chosen. Um, so this is how we read this. For example, this correct answer, I have 9 students who got it right. So you do not need to manually, look for the data in the paper of your students. And in the Philippines, this is quite funny because we normally what? Ask the students to raise their hands and count on the numbers of which are who got right and wrong. But with Quizalize, you do not need to do those things here because you have the automated data already. There you go. Right now, I have 9 students who got the answer correctly. And I have this number of students who chose this specific item. So you can use this for like um, discuss this item with your student and ask their opinions about why do you think you have chosen this particular question, in what area of this question or this form of questions you got confused with, so something like that. But this is very powerful because if you want to identify those students right away so that you can easily call up the attention, just click the show student name here. There you go. The students are already there. So I can say, or I can use this one as, for example, for these students who got this right, I will call up the name, for example, Jonaline, Kanya, Jean, very good. Well, I remember you, Jean. You are here again. Oh, you enjoyed my session, I believe. Anyway, so Gan, wrong. Who's wrong? Oh, Wong. That's Wong. Okay, really good. Well done. So, guys, could you, speak out or share your knowledge with your students on how you figure out the right answer, something like that you can use. That is only one of the scenarios where you can use this powerful dashboard here. Another thing that you can use is that, again, you can call up the name of, for example, these 2 students who answered this incorrect answer. City, Tan, can I ask you about, your thoughts of the questions? Is there anything there in the syntax of the questions made you confused of? So in that way, you will have a connection with your student. And from there, that is again another experience for the student, for them to have the where the long retention starts rather. So the students then will share with you about what they have experienced and all. So another thing that you can also use this for is again figuring out the whether your items or the choices are a good distractor or not. For example, in this case, I have the unknown option there. Okay, so as you can see, none of my students have answered this particular option. So this is just an example. Okay, so you can say that this distractor is not a good distractor because none of your students have picked that option. So you might as well want to change it up to make it more, eye catcher, let's say, for your student and pick that up. Of course, we do not want to make that happen, but that's part of how we analyze things, right? When it comes to our items. Okay, so this is another option here. As you can see, questions here, and these are the students who answered these particular options and all. Again, the gear icon is there. Now let's go back. What else do you get? What else you get is, I'm really happy, by the way, because I have seen similar names who have attended already the webinar one, who are attending the webinar one now. It's actually the first session out of 6. So if you want to complete, the course on how to get well equipped with ZZish and Quizalize, we are conducting series of webinar sessions weekly. That is weekly. So I'm going to shoot you a message earlier with the registration link for you to get a notification if you wish. Okay. Now let's go to the differentiation. This is really a good thing. Actually, I give emphasis on this on the second part of the webinar session. But here you will get all the data so you need, like you want to compare whether they have improved or not in the first activity that you have given them, and then the recent activity that you gave them after a follow-up activity differentiated one. So again, I give emphasis on this on the webinar two, but I think once you have done assigning those differentiated activities, you will be able to have the idea on how to use differentiation. Okay, just simply click the show me thing there, and there you go. You will get those differentiation thing. Right. So improvements here. When you click the improvements, remember you can give your students multiple attempts, so you can compare those attempts to see whether they have improved or not in over rather over the multiple attempts that you gave them. But another thing that you can use this one in really good scenario is that if you are giving them, for example, diagnostic test, and then you have taught them a particular topic, for example, and you gave them another assessment to figure out whether they have learned something from your topic and see if they have improved from your diagnostic, then very easy because you can just simply click the activity here to compare with another recent activity to see whether they have improved or not. It will give you an automated insight on how the whole students performing. And if you wish to analyze the individual students, just simply drag the cursor here, and there you go. You will see the students who have reached the 80% improvement and so on. Really good, for example, for the pre-test and post-test also. So there you go. Or again, if you have given them a short quiz after your topic, and then tomorrow, before you conduct another lesson, see if they still remember it, then you can compare those two different activities, and that's how it works. Or again, compare over multiple tries if you wish. So go back. Um, I will click again the back icon here. Actually, we're almost done with our discussion. There you go. Results table for the Philippines. I think we call this as the mean percentage score or the MPS or the average score. It's already available for you. Just simply click the show me tab here, and there you go. You do not need to do the manual computation and all. And there you go. It's already available. And this is how I read the data here. These are the questions, and these are the name of your students here, and these are the markings. Remember, this activities actually has 10 questions, but I only gave you five. As you can see, each of the students get different set of questions. As you can see with the markings, the questions are here, the markings are here, students' name are here, and remember also the gear icon earlier, it's also available here, but you just need to click the drop down button and choose your preferred data that you want to consider. That can be the strongest attempt among the multiple attempts, the first try or the last try. Okay, now this is a really good really a good one because from here you can arrange it from highest to lowest. There you go. Simply click the drop down button here, lowest first or lowest to highest first or highest to lowest, or alphabetically. Okay. I mean, in this very simple arranging of scores of our students, we normally, I'm talking about in the Philippines. I'm not sure in other countries on how you do it. But for the Philippines particularly, we spend a lot of time just to first marking those papers, arranging those papers from highest to lowest, and again, much deeper information like who are actually needs your help and all. Well, it takes time before we get to that position where we already have the knowledge of how we can address the student, right? So in that time, the interest is no longer there for the student, yeah, because of the duration on how we or how long we find out first the problems before we can able to help them out. So if we can address them right away, it's a really good thing because right away you can correct the learnings of your students. That could give them a really good experience where the long retention starts. Again, I am talking about based on my experience as a teacher in the Philippines. I have experience teaching abroad also and with foreign people. So I think whatever or wherever you are from, I think we are just on the same page with regards to addressing the issues academically of our students. So there you go. So from you also, you would be able to see who are the students who have completed the activity, who are still in progress, as you can see here, and the students has no results. Okay, go back. We are almost done. Okay. Oh, this is my favorite. Really, very powerful. The subtopic one. When you click this one, show me tab, Philippines, hello. So I think you would love this, and not just for the Philippines. Whatever you are in a part of the world, you would love this. Why? Because it will give you a straightforward data on the least and most learned. Okay, that can be subtopics, or if you have aligned your questions to the competencies of your curriculum, it could give you the competencies. For example, imagine this is a competencies. I have tagged the questions to the right competencies. So it will give you competencies here, competencies there, and all. But in this case, I have only used subtopics. So as you can see, I have made an activity with three subtopics: number questions, the math problems, and the board problems. Underneath those subtopics are the number of questions I have created for those particular competencies or topics, for example. Now, how can you say that this particular topic or competencies is the least learned? How can you consider that? Or how can you consider that this is actually the most learned? How is that? By just simply looking at those models. Okay? Remember that white are always the strong ones. Well, when we go back to the activity list, you will see there a green color because the background is white. So that's why the strong student is green there. But in all of our dashboard, you will see white as the strong students, and the orange are almost there, and the red ones are the students who actually needs our help. Now, in this case, I would consider that math problems is the least learned. Why? Because I have so much number of students who failed in this particular topic. Because again, by just simply looking at the bar lines, what is very powerful here is that if you wish to conduct a remediation, you can right away figure out the specific topic, a specific competencies, and even specific students that you want to give a remediation with. How? Just simply drag the cursor and there you go. Okay, for example, this is just an example scenario in the class. All right, so Tan, Pachay, Rosita. I'm not seeing Filipino names here. Oh, Jean, hello. So, Jean, you guys, we need to have another, setup session after this. So I could help you to better understand the lesson, and you will get better mastery of your learning. So something like that. If you wish again to conduct a remediation, this is a really powerful tool because you do not need to go back to all of those things that we've talked about earlier. Just focus here, see the specific topics or competencies that you need to give a remediation with, and the students that needs that remediation. Okay. Now, another good example that you can use if you want to give credit to your student, for example, in the number problems, you're really doing well, Jonalyn. Wow, this is Filipino, I believe. Jonalyn Yogan, I'm sorry if I can't pronounce well your name. So that is an example of how you're going to use this tool with your student. Again, the gear icon is there, and there you go. You can choose the attempts that you wish to consider. And go back. Now, if your school is currently using LMS or VLE, what you can actually do is to download that Excel, download those data into an Excel file and upload it to your or import it to your VLE or LMS. So this is the ZZish hub that I was talking about earlier. I go back here, and there you go. So we have already completed the topics that we need to cover for today, and those are just the basic. A lot of things that you need to know if you wish to really get equipped into or using a ZZish and Quizalize, again, I am inviting you to our webinar series. It's totally free, and these days we are giving out free premium to everyone in the world until August 1, 2020. A lot of advantages that you could get when you attend our webinar series. If you want to get more information on that, I will send over a registration link. Register your name there, and we will shoot you a message about the upcoming webinar session. So there you go. Ruban, are you there still? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Rosemary. Thank you so much. My
Yeah.
goodness. What,
Yes.
what can I say? That was very
Mhm.
comprehensive, so detailed. You managed to cover all the elements needed for the teachers to know how to, I mean, for the basic beginners to know about how to go about in using, what is it? Quizalize. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Wow.
Well,
Like,
those are just basic, by the way, basic. So
always,
we do not want, yeah, we do not want to overwhelm our users out there or the newbies with Quizalize. So I just normally really give an introduction on the things that an educator would get from ZZish and Quizzes. By the way, I haven't mentioned earlier that those things that we've discussed is that when you use your offline, remember we have the offline where you need to print out the generated activity, the print out bubble sheets and all, and you can scan it to get the instance score offline. Go back online and synchronize those data. You will get those in-depth analysis.
all right. Thank you so much for the wonderful explanation about how to use Quizalize and how to go about it. It has a lot of benefits, and I
Mhm.
hope our educators will be able to use this particular app in order to, to help the students to give a variety in their teaching. And at the same time, it is linked with our Malaysian syllabus, and that is perfect, and that is wonderful. And most of the teachers who are with us today, almost 250 of them, they are sustaining, and most of them are very happy to know about this. They find it very interesting, and they can't wait to use for the students. So I remember you just mentioned about the link. Would you mind sharing the link with the viewers so that they can follow on your next webinars? Or I came across that you want to mention something to do with the link.
Yes, yes. I'm sorry, by the way, Nirmala, if I have mentioned your name incorrectly earlier. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
correct,
Okay.
correct,
So where should I
perfect.
send?
What
Where
is
should
it?
I send the link, by the way?
Oh, you
Here.
can type on the screen and then I mean on your laptop and show it to the viewers. Just share
Okay. All
screen.
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you again, guys. For those who have followed, the enter session as well as the activity, but for those who haven't gotten the chance to answer the activity, don't worry because I have stopped the activity. I'm afraid, yeah, the tech team reminded me that we only have like 200, 300, I think 400, 500 rather, number of students that can enter the activity at once. They have limited that into that number of students because of the high demand nowadays. But before we do not have actually limit. But anyway, if you did not able to answer that activity, do not worry. I will still give you the activity, the registration link here. Just go to your browser and enter this HTTPS and then colon followed by slash slash and then bit as in bit dot ly slash 2a and then I think this is J, yes, JITJM I think I have also sent you the link, ma'am. If you wish to share it in the live session, you can
Yeah,
do so as
perhaps.
well. When you
Perhaps
are in the
Teacher
group.
Ruben. Yes, Teacher
Okay.
Ruben has shared that now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So, just a reminder to our audience, by the way, if you once you are answering this activity and you find some links there that you need to follow and all, if you're using mobile cell phone, I would recommend you to copy the link and then paste it on your browser. Otherwise, this thing that you need to register yourself will be closed down. So again, if you're using cell phone, just copy those links that I'm requesting you to follow and subscribe on. So copy those links, paste it on your browser, and then go back to the questionnaires and register yourself. Now, if you're using computer, that's not a problem. So I think the information are there anyway. So whenever you have any questions, if you're using Quizalize and you're having a trouble with, please feel free to reach out to us to our chat support. It works almost 24/7 a day because I sometimes make sure that I made myself available on the weekends, especially for the Southeast Asian. Of course, my other colleagues from other parts of the world are available too whenever they can on the weekends, just to make sure that you are getting a really good experience with Quizalize. So please feel free to message us on the chat support.
All right, thank you. That was great. That was great information. Hopefully, many of our teachers will be able to join and get the insights
Mhm.
of information related to Quizalize. And if there's any problem, they can always get in touch with you. Okay, and I have few questions from the viewers. The first question is from Criselda, is the curriculum for SPED learners also included?
SPED
Is the
learners,
curriculum,
right?
is it included?
Okay, so as I was saying earlier, if you do have the copy of your curriculum, whatever curriculum that is, okay, for as long as you will send us over the curriculum, then we can make it available for you if that is not yet available.
All right, thank you. Perfect answer. Another teacher
Mhm.
asked, Rosita Tambi, is it whatever you explained just now about Quizlet, is it similar to Google Form?
Which one? Sorry, Google Form.
Just now, yes, just now you explained about Quizalize, right? So she's asking, is it similar to Google Form?
Okay, so as far as I know, I don't have much experience with Google Form, but based on my base experience with Google Form, I think that is entirely different two things.
All right, thank you. And another teacher, Anushya Rajan, she wants to know how to do synchronize with Google Classroom.
Oh, good question. As I mentioned earlier, we discussed this in I think on webinar two. On our webinar two, we discussed on how to synchronize your ZZish and Quizalize classes to your Google Classroom. Now, or your Google Classroom rather, reverse, okay, or vice versa. The advantage of syncing your classes, by the way, is again to get those in-depth analysis that I have shared with you. So I am inviting you if you are interested to join again in our series of webinar sessions after this because we discussed that future. We give further details on that part on our next session. I'm inviting you that, so please register yourself so you could get a notification on the next webinar.
Perfect. All right. This is the last question from a teacher, Kasi Visalaji. She came across the option with Google Classroom here. How does it actually work?
I'm sorry, how does?
How does it actually work? Means like she came across an option with Google Classroom. She wants to know how does it actually work?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last word. What was the last word?
How does it actually work? She came across the
Equitable.
option with Google Classroom. Something to do with Google Classroom. How does it actually
Okay.
works?
Okay. Okay. In terms of Google Classroom and other features that were not covered today, we are giving more information on that and further explanation
Webinar.
and walkthrough also
Right.
in our webinar
Next
series.
upcoming
So,
webinars.
yes.
All right.
So,
Sure.
I'm inviting you
All
guys
right.
to attend the webinar series for you to be able to understand those things related to Google Classroom and pairing with Quizalize.
Yes, thank you very much, Rosemary, for your valuable time to explain in great depth about this Quizalize. And I really hope that the teachers will be able to give a variety in their teaching and learning so that the students are fortunate to learn during this remote learning. And it has a lot of
Mm-hmm.
great features. So I hope they will be able to go through again if they find it difficult or to understand any elements. The video is made available in Inspire My, so they can always go through again and again until they become the master of creating that particular questions. Okay,
Yes, actually, you
that's
know
it for
what?
me.
Sorry, sorry.
What is it? I beg your pardon?
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, with whatever you have learned today with this webinar session, actually, you can give it a try right now, like right now, as in at this time. Those are, especially these days, we came to realize that whatever the basic is are the essentials, right? So the basics that I have shared with you are actually the essential things that you might need for you to be able to still deliver quality education. I mean, the other sessions, we will just cover the advanced features of ZZish and Quizalize. But to begin with, using or utilization or utilizing Quizalize, and getting all those essential things that you need in your teaching career, I think you can able to do it now with those basics that you have learned. Please allow me to read the shout out from Diane Suya, if you don't mind. By the way, lahat ba naman po pagbabalikan po ba kayo? Okay, so I think she is a Filipino, one of the Filipinos who are watching right now. So yes, ma'am, Joe, just please feel free to send us a message. Send us a message plus the certification link.
All right,
Yes,
definitely.
yes, that is also the certification link. Yes, yes,
All right,
Ruban, Sir Ruban, yeah,
all
we will
right,
use
sure.
that as the certification link also.
Yes, thank you so much, Rosemary, for your valuable time. Now, I'd like to give some information for our teachers, viewers regarding certificate from Inspire Mind. Okay, dear teachers, as usual, please subscribe to Inspire My YouTube channel. You will need to fill in your attendance form based on the link that is appearing on the screen right now. Just a gentle reminder, please fill in the forms correctly, especially check the spelling of your name, your IC number for Malaysians, and your email address. Do not share the link to anyone else, and it is not meant for those who did not attend this slot. So you are given an hour from now to fill in the attendance form that is shown in the channel now, right? Do join us for next upcoming webinars, and you'll be able to see more videos from Inspire My YouTube channel. Till then, we are able to meet some other time. Thank you for your valuable time that you have spent almost 2 hours in class to listen to the talk about Quizalize. Thank you very much for the audience. And thank you very much for our speaker and also Mr. Ruben. Thank you. Hope to
Thank
meet
you
all
very
of you again.
much.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.